You ever feel like taxes are just a wee bit too complicated? Or like the IRS is just a bunch of chimpanzees pulling levers at random? Well, today I've got someone in studio who understands the madness because she eats, sleeps, and breathes this stuff. It's Jasmine DeLucci. She's a tax attorney, CPA, and EA. And fancy letters aside, she's a YouTuber, just like me. And on her channel, she debunks the wildest tax myths on the internet. And today, she's gonna join me in studio to react to some of the most unhinged tax advice out there to see if it has any merit. Let's get into it. Jasmine, welcome.
Thank you.
People think that we edited it. You're actually here in real life.
I'm here, yeah.
Thank you for coming. Now, you're famous for reacting to, I would say, the craziest advice on the internet about taxes. Is that accurate?
I guess so, yeah. I've reacted to all advice, good and bad.
Well, today I thought, let's react to some all-time classics from the channel, plus some that I found that you may have never seen before.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
We'll see.
Let's get into it. Let's do this.
People don't realize it's a full zero tax, and they're like, no, I don't get it. Well, like, but what's the No, there's no stipulation. It is 0% corporate, 0% dividend, and 0% income. So the best part is I can go to Dubai, I can clean 50 million, be left with 50 million, and I can return back to UK with 50 million to 100 million, whatever the number is, in the next 5 years. And I can return back to UK and then never pay tax on that.
Yes.
Okay. What? Can you explain to me what's happening?
So the problem, this is actually this one gets a lot of views. Like his video has gotten a ton of views, and I actually have done a reaction to this one. It's always like, what's the context, right?
Yes.
First off, he's not a U.S. citizen.
That's good to know.
Very relevant. I believe he's in the U.K. And so whenever it comes to tax, right, we always know that it's what are the tax laws of where you're a resident, and then what are the tax laws of the other country. So people watch this and they think, oh, I'll just like go to Dubai and have no tax. But especially if you're speaking to US doesn't care. They're like,
and
that's
this is
great.
tax on income. So and it says, the caption says, Dubai does not have tax.
Right, which I also don't think that's accurate. That is not accurate. Dubai has tax, but they don't have the same level of like income tax that the US does.
Okay. So when he's saying I'm going to clean 50 million, I'm going to take 100 million,
Yeah.
what is he actually saying?
Yeah.
Nobody knows. I'm not sure. Do you think this guy actually has 50? I don't know.
No, that's a good question. I do think he makes good money. I don't know if he makes as much as he says. That's always what you do on like Instagram is you flex. But it wouldn't matter at all for someone in the US. Like you would just still have your income tax rates in
so
there.
If you're an American, just keep scrolling. That's the TLDR.
Yeah.
Well, let's ignore this man.
The more money you make, the more the IRS will take. So if you go from making $75,000 to $150,000, you're not going to see $75,000 divided by 12 on your paycheck. As a matter of fact, I know people who get a raise from $100,000 on their job to $200,000, and they've actually seen less on their check because the more money you make, the more tax brackets you enter into. I did not think that when you grow in life that you make more money and get less. That just didn't seem fair to me. So the first thing is to spend less money. The next thing is, yes, to get more money. Multiple streams of income, a raise on your job, do some extra shifts. But the third ingredient is the single most important ingredient, and that is you have to get your money back. Well, guess what? That's what the IRS says. The IRS says if you drive your car for business, you can get your money back. If you just go out and drive for personal reasons, you don't. If you have a business dinner or business lunch, you can get your money back. If you take a business trip, you can get your money back. The IRS says this well over hundreds and hundreds of times.
Okay. Are people just putting nice piano music to make it like motivational and exciting?
100%.
Okay, so let's go to the first part.
She actually is a really good speaker, so I think a lot of people listen to her because she is really well spoken.
Yeah, I could listen to her all day.
Well. When it comes to tax, it's like the way she spoke was that it was about someone with a W-2 job. If you got a raise, you would make more money. It's just
you're not going to see less on your check if you make more.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen this where people are scared to make more because they don't want to pay way more taxes. They think if I get knocked into the next bracket, I'm going to owe exponentially more, which is not how the tax system works.
Yeah. Yeah. So even though you tell people it's like the tax system works for the dollars in that bracket are what are taxed at that bracket, right? It doesn't change the prior dollars. I think a lot of people don't get it.
Yeah, you kind of need to visualize it. And we've done a video on this to explain that because it is confusing. I'll give them that. Yeah. But then she went on to say even more crazy things.
She went into, it almost seems like she went into business deductions, which is like that would not apply
what's
to
her wheelhouse? Is she...
I don't know her too well, but she will speak on tax sometimes.
Okay.
But I know on the business deduction stuff, she will speak on it and say like, everything's a business deduction, like a Bible is a business deduction, because I had to get like, stuff from the Lord to like figure out my business.
Should I be doing that? how much can I deduct for a Bible?
Well, I would say it's not deductible. Yeah.
All right.
A lot of your personal stuff. I mean, in general, certainly, I guess there could be like a certain type of business where it's core to your business. But in general, a lot of these personal items that we try to turn into business items, they can have some level of a business purpose and not be a business deduction. Like the courts have seen this, right? It's not new.
Yeah.
It's like they've seen this for decades. People are trying to turn everything into a business deduction, right? You say, well, I got to get good sleep if I'm going to make money in my business, right? So then like
my mattress?
yeah, and like I got to see, right? So maybe like my contacts should be deductible since like if I couldn't see, then I can't make
And
money.
I got to walk to get from my car
Right.
to the yacht, so I guess my shoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of along that line where it's like a lot of things turn into not being deductible. And like the legal answer would be, well, 162A tells us there are business deductions that are allowed, but 262A tells us there are personal expenses that are not deductible. So the courts basically say we need to draw a line
It
in the
cancels it out.
sand so that people can't just like go nuts trying to deduct everything.
What I got from this is add piano music to anything I say to make it sound more important
You
and
can
intense.
definitely do that.
Have you tried that?
No, that's not my style.
Note for the producers.
That's off-brand. That's not
Jasmine,
me.
we'll get you more views this way. Okay, let's move on to this bro. Let's see what he has to say.
If you're holding crypto, you don't have to pay taxes. You can use a trust to legally defer the taxes on your crypto profits and any other capital gains from generation to generation in perpetuity using a trust. This is what the ultra wealthy do. It's what the politicians do. We have a tax team and a legal team that have been at this for decades that can help you set this up for your family. All you need to do is comment the word crypto and I'll show you exactly how it's done.
Okay, strong pitch there to work with his team.
It definitely sounds compelling if I didn't know anything about tax law.
Well, he
I'd be
used the
like,
word perpetuity, which to me, well, who am I to argue with a guy who's using perpetuity in a sentence?
And he's got tax and legal advisors.
But I think he also has a ponytail, which I think that cancels out any good advice.
You can't trust a man like that.
So I do know what he's talking about. He's talking about two things. Primarily, there's this tax fraud scheme going around that's called like a spendthrift trust. Spendthrift trusts do exist, but they were intended to they don't save on tax. They're just like intended to prevent people from spending away all their money. So there's like certain trusts you can do that. But there's a section of people that have creatively turned it into tax fraud where they say that basically just like your taxes go away. It started back in like 2019, so it's actually been around for a while. The IRS is just very slow. So they opened up a criminal case, I would say around 2020, 2021 is when I started seeing the activity from it. And then right now they are zoning in is what I have seen.
So
Although
Stone
not,
better watch himself.
Not well enough because they're still on Instagram posting.
Yeah, he
them.
posted this just a few months ago.
Yeah,
This
no,
is
they're
not
actively
super old content.
They're actively still selling it. So that's one of the things they'll sell. They'll call it like a non-grantor, spendthrift, irrevocable. But like as soon as you start hearing all those words together and they say there's tax savings, tax fraud.
So the
100%.
more words, the more illegal it becomes.
Yeah,
Okay.
especially with tax. Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. I think I've seen enough.
So I accidentally put my lunch and my margarita on my business card, which means now I have to make it a tax write-off. So that's what this video is for.
Animal Kingdom. They're good. Alcohol, the bad $15.
My
Wow.
lunch and my
Okay, I would say props for entertaining
Yeah,
content.
I was going to say he knows that he's kind of,
The question is, was it intended to be advice?
yeah. I don't think this one was intended to be real advice.
Is it legitimate?
Meals is one of those things, this is so negligible that I don't think it's like the big red flag with the IRS. But the technical answer is going to be that, it's a personal meal, right? We always go to substance with the IRS. And that's where I think people always try to like divorce substance from tax law. They're like, I'll just find some like special loophole that says this like crazy thing. And unless that was what the intention was when the law was passed, which there are a couple of those, in general, it's like if there was some accidental, I don't know, like a few words that just like could be interpreted a couple ways, like tax court will always bring it back to the substance. In general, we know for meals deductions, it's like this, they go to the substance of what's the lunch? And the intention, as he actually proves by doing the video, is his intention was to have a personal meal, and then he oopsed and tried to make it business.
Which, isn't there an easy way around that to just like
Yeah, he could have not documented the fact that it was meant to be a personal meal. Yeah.
Because you can just like reimburse yourself from a business account or
Yeah,
whatever.
you could do that. Yeah.
And avoid all of this. But you know what? He wouldn't have made great content. They got a bajillion views. Let's move on to this nice fella.
Happy birthday, Timmy. Thanks, Daddy. And now that you're 5, you're gonna start working for Daddy's company. What? Why? Let me enjoy my childhood. Don't worry. All we're gonna do is add some of your photos into our presentations. And this way, I can pay you as a model for our company. Isn't it illegal for kids to go to work? There are child actors in movies and television shows, and this is no different. So how much are you paying me for this? $13,850 a year. Yay! Now I'm gonna be able to buy so much Robux. Nah. You're not going to be able to touch any of that money. Then what's the point of working for you? It's so that we can save on taxes. By hiring you, I can get a $13,850 tax deduction. And since you have no other income, all that money is given to you tax-free. So why can't I buy Robux? Because we're going to invest that money for you. So that by the time you're 18 years old, you'll have over $300,000. Wow. You're so smart, Daddy.
Okay, so I've seen this one a lot, which is hire your kids to do some sort of modeling for your business because they're incapable of really any other skills other than sitting there with your like business merch on. Is this legitimate?
You can hire your kids. It always goes back to substance. And so it's one of those things, first step is like, is it legal, right? So certainly we know that we can hire employees. Okay, so then step 2 goes, okay, well, your kids they can certainly work for the business, but you have a related party transaction. And so whenever that's the case, and related party in general means like the two parties may have similar economic incentives, which they do here.
Because they're family.
Yeah. If you think about you hire an employee, well, that employee wants to get paid the most possible and you want to pay them the least possible. So you've got adverse economic incentives. Here, we don't have that. We have both parties wanting to pay just under the threshold for it to be non-taxable. One recommendation I have here is like, whenever people are like, oh, you should just pay the exact threshold, I think you're like literally
it's a red flag,
showing the fact that you did it for tax purposes. And like everyone knows we want to save on tax, but you don't need to make it so like clearly the primary purpose. And then, I mean, you want it to match, like their wages have to match what they do. And so just being in a couple pictures, like to me, I always look at that and say, well, would you pay some other kid that's not yours $13,000 to be in a
over
couple
$1,000 a month to take a few photos?
I'm like, no, like I wouldn't.
Actual models don't make that.
Right.
Like this is crazy.
Like there's so many friends that you could find their kids and be like, hey, I'll pay this kid like $100. You want to bring them over for some pictures? So I would say probably you don't have reasonable compensation there. At the end of the day, you want it to be something that like at least you want to at least be able to say with a straight face, I would pay someone else's kid for this.
So you're saying this is legal, but there's so many caveats and most people are pushing it past the legal boundary.
It's legal, but there's scrutiny. And when there's scrutiny, you always want to be like have additional procedure protections, right? So an employment contract, some comps, something that supports it. Otherwise, it's just like very obvious what you're doing.
That sounds boring. Most people just want to watch one TikTok video, snap a few photos, bada bing, bada boom, tax-free retirement.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we've still got plenty of awful tax takes to react to, and the craziest ones are yet to come. But you know what's crazier? Letting your savings die a slow death in a traditional savings account at a brick and mortar bank. Instead, do what I do. Put your hard-earned money in a high-yield savings account with online bank Laurel Road, the sponsor of today's video. Laurel Road offers top-tier APY to make sure your money grows at a competitive rate. Plus, there's no minimum balance required to open an account, and all your deposits are FDIC insured. And best of all, Laurel Road never charges any sneaky monthly maintenance fees, which means you actually get to keep all the interest you earn. You can open an account today by going to laurelroad.com/George or click the link in the description. All right, back to some tax takes.
When I told you to stop paying your taxes this morning, they flagged that video because I was performing a dangerous activity. But now I'm safely in the river. So if you want to have a discussion about how you can legally stop paying your taxes, listen up. When you had that first job and that first employer handed you a W-4 form to fill out, he forgot to tell you that was voluntary, that you don't have to pay your taxes legally because it's voluntary. By the way, I'm not a tax attorney. And this video is for entertainment purposes only.
There we go. Okay.
But if you're curious about this form, it's called a W-4T. You can find it in my bio, and you can submit it to your employer to rescind the permission you gave to pay federal taxes. Now, do your own research. Grab the form, file exempt so you can stop paying taxes immediately, send the form in, and then you're going to get some letters from the IRS that are going to try to bully you and gaslight you. Throw those in the trash. And have a great day.
This is full tax protester. That's all that is. I will say this is a huge movement. Like whenever people say taxation is theft, then that's this movement of like taxes are voluntary. Obviously, no one's position is that, including the courts, including the DOJ, all these people that could put you in jail.
Just your personal opinion.
Yeah, so even if you have the personal opinion that it's, voluntary, I mean, it's like, do you want to be protesting that from jail? It's up to you. I will see some of these tax fraud schemes and I will be like, oh, just let me get on a sales call.
You'll actually go through with it?
No, I don't buy it. But
you're like, oh, link in bio, bet. And you go there and get the W-4T form. And...
Yeah, I'm like, this is interesting. No, I'm like, this is interesting. Let me see what the latest tax scam is.
Okay.
What are these guys saying? Because I just think, potentially good
Do you have
content.
a pseudonym you go under? Do you change your voice?
No, I don't change my voice. But
you sound just like that. This is your opportunity to rebrand yourself.
No. I will do a fake name, fake email, fake phone.
Can you tell me the fake name?
No. These guys will know.
Okay, they'll be like, wait, she was on a sales call with me. Brenda? With that voice? Okay.
Yeah, so I did, one of the ones that I did relatively recently, it's the tax protester, there's some of those, and what they do is they have you send in, so kind of like she said, send in your W-4 to the IRS, because you would never do that. You're supposed to give it to your employer, not to the IRS, but they have these methodologies for saying you send this to your congressman, and you send this into the IRS.
Yeah, she has
and
that.
It's always send to all these people that you're never going to hear back from, because obviously they don't respond, and then they try to imply that it gives you some legal right to stop paying tax.
Wow. I'm surprised you even got that far because I'm so distracted by what is going on in this video. Because she's clearly in a bathtub, but then green screened into a river, but then fully tatted from the neck down. And then her hand keeps sliding. And I'm like, where did it go? What is she doing while making a video about taxes? And her name is Carol Banjo.
Yeah. You'd be shocked. People this is the stuff people forward it to me and be like, is this good? Is this right?
But she also seemed like she was 3 sheets to the wind in this video. Which I feel like if you're going to try to give tax advice, maybe be somewhat
people
sober.
Love it.
Okay, maybe I need to start making videos from the bathtub. Note to the producers.
Don't do that.
All right.
Get in, loser. I just got a new car. This car is sick. I know. I was considering a G-Wagon or a Range Rover or a Porsche Cayenne. Okay, Daddy Warbucks. No, dude, I didn't buy this car to be flashy. It's a great financial decision. What? Yeah, a Section 179 deduction. I own a business and can write the car off as an expense. With regular cars, you'd have to spread the car's price over 5 years to deduct it off of your taxable income. But with Section 179 cars, you'll be able to deduct 100% of the cost the same year that you buy it. Wait, can I do this? Maybe. You have to have a business like an LLC or an S-Corp, and the deduction is proportional to what % you use it for business. It's also not just luxury vehicles that qualify. Any car weighing over 6,000 pounds works. Here's a quick list. European cars, American cars, Japanese cars, they all count.
So she sounded like she had done her homework here.
The 6,000 pound rule, people just vary generically. We care about whether is it 6,000 loaded, assuming it's loaded up with people, loaded up with all this stuff, or unloaded, and that matters a lot. And depending on the type of car, that impacts whether you can go with the easier threshold, which is 6,000 loaded, which
loaded.
A lot of cars meet.
Yep.
Or if you're really not a truck or a van, not one of those heavier cars, and there's specific criteria, then it's 6,000 unloaded, which a lot of vehicles basically don't meet that. So that's their threshold number one. And then Section 179 specifically, people love to just say Section 179, but there's an SUV limitation specific for it, and it's around $30,000 a year to limit that first year deduction.
So you can't just deduct $500,000.
Right. Yeah,
the
you definitely have
G-Wagon.
limits. Yeah.
And then, walk me through this. Let's say the G-Wagon is $300,000.
Okay.
And you said, I'm going to write it off.
Yeah.
So I can write off $300,000 in 1 year. But was that a good decision financially, like she said?
Sure. No, in my opinion.
How does that work? Because you write off the car, you didn't make $300,000.
So hurdle number one, is it even fully deductible? Which I think people make that assumption when they buy it because of videos like this. Not always true.
Okay.
Even if they're over that 6,000 pound. And then, you're not getting a dollar for dollar.
Not a dollar for dollar deduction. And you probably still have a huge loan attached to that because most people doing this crap have to take out a giant car loan to make it happen, which then has its own interest.
What I would say is the worst situation that I actually see pretty often is they buy the car, they get the debt, they put it in an S-Corp, and then there's a way where, not to get too technical, but it's basically when you have debt and assets, depreciable assets and debt on an S-Corp, you incur a layer of double tax. It's what we call exceeding your tax basis, but you basically pay tax on the loan money.
If the loan was $100,000, you
Yeah.
could owe taxes on $100,000 as if you had earned it.
Yeah, and it's an indirect impact of it. It's not like you're literally directly taxed on the loan, but it's an implication because of the loan. You get that extra layer of capital gains tax.
Okay. And I know a lot of people are wondering, well, how do I hit the 6,000 pound limit? Just put your mom in it. That should do it. There you go, Brad. I'm gonna be honest, that's all I was thinking about when you said 6,000 pounds loaded. I just went, put your mom in it. And that's why I'm not a tax attorney. Barely got my undergrad, guys. Barely.
Sometimes it's hard to imagine how you've made it this far.
Let's do one more from me.
Okay.
And then let's have you choose one.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is something you found out late in life that you should have known earlier, but you just didn't?
That rich people be writing off their weddings on their taxes, and so can you. So share and save this video, especially if you were newlywed, or keeping hope alive for when that day comes. Here's how you can finesse the system. Average cost of a wedding in the United States in 2024 was about $33,000, which is a slight increase from the previous year's $29,000. Everyone wants to go big and pay for the memories of their special day, but no one said you can't get paid back for your trouble. And that's most things we cover on this page about getting paid back with Look to Taxes. Them beautiful flowers that you have on the table and in the bride's hands, looking to bless someone else down the aisle. Well, you can set up floral donations to hospitals, nursing homes, and homeless shelters. Donating these to a nonprofit will allow you to take a tax break come Uncle Sam time. That ain't even it though. That dress and that suit that neither one of y'all gonna be wearing again. Give it over to any of these nonprofits, which look out for women and men in need for their big day. And just like the flowers, write this off on your taxes. But that ain't even it though. We all know how pricey wedding spaces can get. Well, if where you're getting married is a historical site, you may be able to claim the venue fee as a donation on your taxes. Just check the tax classification of the property and that fee comes back to we. This is America, folks. Everything is negotiable. And half of everything is deductible.
Oh my gosh. I love this guy. Okay, he sounds like what he was saying is legitimate.
Yeah, some of it was. The flowers is legitimate.
So like you donate the flowers from the wedding,
Yeah.
you can then write off the flower portion.
Generally, yeah. You have to set it up in advance, make sure it's actually...
It can't be an afterthought of like, hey,
Yeah,
sent
just like
the flowers
dump
to
it
Goodwill.
somewhere. Yeah, I mean, I guess, how is the IRS to know? You definitely want confirmation of the value and like who you gave it to and all of that stuff. The wedding dress, I mean, that one's legitimate, but who's going to want to donate their wedding dress? Most people don't.
Oh, that's true. They want to keep it and
Yeah.
maybe as a keepsake give it to their kids one day.
Yeah. Yeah, most
Okay.
people just don't want to give that. And then like venue, right? A lot of people say like write off your venue if you're at a nonprofit, but if you get something in return, you can't, right? That's not a donation.
Oh.
And so you would have to give an amount above and beyond the value you received back. So in theory, if you gave like a voluntary extra amount, then that would be deductible.
Okay, so if I just donate an extra $5,000 on top of the wedding to
Right.
save some money,
Yeah.
which isn't a great tax hack as far as just saving
Right.
money. It's great on the generosity side,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
you
we know the definition of charity. I mean, it's literally giving and not receiving back.
and it's not a dollar for dollar deduction.
Yeah.
So you buy $1,000 in flowers doesn't mean you're gonna.
Well,
save
even then,
$1,000.
you may not save anything because it's an itemized deduction.
Oh.
Right? So people imply, well, it's a I mean, technically it's a deduction. You put it on the return and then you still qualify for the standard deduction. Your itemized don't equal anything higher and you get no benefit.
So usually when we end these React videos, my producer will give me a random one that I have no clue about. But today, you are said producer and you have a new clip for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, we have to do this one.
I'm nervous and excited.
Yeah.
If you're currently running a business out of an LLC right now, listen up, okay? I'm going to teach you something very powerful. You are leaving a lot of money on the table. Literally every dollar that you make in an LLC is getting hit with income tax, self-employment tax, state tax, and for what? Just to keep playing the Matrix's game. Here's the move, okay? You set up a 508c1a, and then you make the 508 the owner of your LLC. Now we can set this up for you. Now the LLC becomes a disregarded entity. It is a ghost. The IRS doesn't see it. And guess where all of the income going into the LLC flows? Straight into the 508, completely tax exempt, legally, ethically, no income tax, period.
I feel nothing. I feel nothing from this man. What was I supposed to gather from this?
The reason I like this one is actually this person has a lot of followers on Instagram, like more than me, just so
Hundreds
many.
of thousands
Hundreds of
follow
thousands.
this guy, real intelligent banker.
Uh-huh.
Which I feel like if you have to say all those things,
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you really?
Are you?
You know what I mean? If I was like really handsome personal finance, I feel like people are all right, he's trying a little hard.
Yeah. I love talking about tax. I could just talk about tax all day long, and I love my job. But then sometimes part of that job I do feel is like literally protecting people. And that's why I wanted to show this one, because a lot of people are quite literally signing up with him. This is like very common. He is making millions.
That was a great pitch.
Selling
like,
this.
yeah, I want to make all my business income tax free.
Yeah. Right now, he's not the only one posting about this like 508c1a, but what it is, if you actually look at the code section, which it's IRC 508c1a, it is for churches. Churches are exempt from applying and using Form 1023 to become a 501c3. So just to follow that logic, right? We know 501c3s, nonprofits are tax exempt. Lots of requirements there to even do that. And then there's this special provision that says, you know what, we won't make you submit the application to become a 501c3 if you're a church.
Oh, and that's what that other form is for.
And that's what that code section is. And then he's saying this code section means you can just like move your business under a church that doesn't have to apply to be a 501c3 and just like wipe out your tax bill. And so obviously it's just like complete tax fraud. He's selling it for like $18,000.
Wow. Legit 18 grand.
People are paying
to create this for his team to do this for you. To commit tax fraud on your behalf.
Yes.
So we can all go to jail and be together there.
Yeah.
Wow. So this guy's, he's borderline running a cult religion.
Yeah.
So I feel like he might get away with it. No. This is an actual church.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, this is one of the areas that gets me like, because he's so public about it, right? He doesn't hide it.
Yeah.
And the IRS hasn't, to my knowledge, gone after it. They take years to go after the scam generally, never mind people that just like are super public. Yet I'll tell you right now, with IRS audits, like they go after small business owners like crazy. It's just like they just like kill small business owners with legitimate deductions, of course, that they didn't keep the receipt for, things that they're not organized. Meanwhile, this is just like, how is he still able to sell this?
No, I mean, there's a comment right here. Man, that's for religious purposes, laughing emoji.
Right.
One person said, can I do this for my brand, Jesus Energy Drink?
Right, yeah.
Well, I don't know how you get through these, because this, I feel like this is brain rot.
Yeah.
Do you just have to wash it off when you're done?
I don't know. I feel like it's part of my mission. It's educating people, and it's like, at the end of the day, if I just talked about boring tax stuff, people wouldn't be as interested. But it's like a way of making it entertaining, answering some legitimate questions. People legitimately send it to me and are like, "Is this legal?" And I'm like, "Here's legally
the DMs
why it is illegal." Yeah.
Woo. Well, this was fun. I always say, if you follow the trends, you'll fall for the traps. And I feel like you are out there trying to shine a light on all of the traps that look like trendy, get rich quick, save a buck. This is the smart thing that wealthy people do. Yep. So I appreciate you being an ally in the personal finance space to call out all the crap that's out there and call out the good stuff that's actually true that could help people.
Exactly. Yeah, no, there's some legitimate things. And it's like, it's scary to almost touch any of it, because you're like, once you start realizing there's so much fake stuff, you're like, I literally don't know what the real stuff is.
That's the internet. Thanks, AI. Well, hey, big thanks to Jasmine for joining us today. Where can people find you?
I'm at Tax Leverage JD on Instagram or at Tax Leverage on YouTube.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thanks for hanging out. Come back and see us.
Okay.
If you want more advice on how to do taxes right and avoid making dumb mistakes, I've got just the thing for you. It's a free tax resource page with everything you need to know, whether you're running a business or working a 9-to-5. So I'll leave a link to that in the description below. And while we're on the subject, the IRS has already announced some major tax changes that will affect your return next year in 2026. And in this video, I broke down how those changes might help you keep more of your hard-earned cash. So keep watching to check it out or click the link in the description below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.